Welcome once again, everyone. We are free to speak. I'm Bobby, and this is Paul. And every week we come to you and we talk about various issues and topics that have relevance both to Ugandan culture and to American culture. And we haven't really said this in a while, Paul, but just our backgrounds again. You're a clinical psychologist here in Uganda.
Yeah.
So your expertise is clinical psychology. Unless there's anything you want to add to that or say to that.
Nah.
Okay. I'm a retired academic from the United States. I'm probably the best way to describe me is I'm a science educator. I'm primarily concerned with evaluating effectiveness of various math and science projects. That's what I did in my job, but I retired from that position a little over a year ago. And I've been living here in Uganda for the last year. I married my wife Sharon, who's a Ugandan citizen. Our first anniversary is in, what's the date today?
Today's the 3rd.
Today's the 3rd. So our anniversary is August 7th. So
Today's the 4th.
Today's the 4th. All right. We're recording this on August the 4th. And so I don't know when this will actually air, but my anniversary is August 7th. So that's my first anniversary. So congratulations to us.
To you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
anybody who wants to congratulate us, just feel free to. I'm living here in Uganda, in Entebbe. I'm living here in Entebbe, Uganda with my wife. And Paul and I met through a church that we attend here. And we just found that we had similar interests. And we wanted to bring different perspectives to some of these controversial and contentious issues, like, for example, woke culture and the influence that wokeness has on culture. And we've had several different topics we've talked about. We've talked about abortion. We've talked about mental illness. We've talked about social media. And we think of some other things. We talked about war. That's one of my favorite episodes. I'm a very anti-war kind of guy. I don't like war. And there are some people, for some reason, they like war. I don't know why. War is always bad.
They get money from it.
They get money from it, yeah. So.
You know, this week there is in Olympics there's an Algerian woman.
Yes.
Did you see that video?
I did, yes. And she basically had to withdraw after 46 seconds.
Yes, the Algerian beat the other one.
Yeah, right, the Algerian. But they say that the Algerian one wasn't actually transgendered, that she was intersex. I don't know too much about this particular story, but are you more familiar?
I've read about it. Yeah. So basically, they're saying she has, she's more of a female than a male, but then she has a lot of testosterone as well. And so she's female. So I actually feel sorry for such a person. I don't know where they fall. I don't know how they can engage in sport, because they are too strong for females. They are too masculine to be female. Then they are too female to be masculine. Like they're too feminine to be male. I don't know if maybe they should be, how to solve it would be maybe either they go for the Special Olympics, or they go for, Olympics has to add that particular category of people to have their own races, because it's unfair for such a woman to tell her, okay, you can't fight with women, fight with men, because obviously she can't fight with men, because she's, she has a high femininity in her. Right. The same way she can't fight with females because she's too masculine for them. So, this inclusivity thing is not like you can just say, okay, now for me, since I identify as a female, let me fight with females. No, but because if you have traits that are making you, dominant among females, then it's not fair for other females. But then if you also have traits that your traits are making you less competitive among males, then ideally we should have a special group for such people. Like, okay, we have, whatever, something like that.
Would we have enough people to make a group?
Definitely. Yeah.
So what I'm wondering about is how comparable this is to another story that we talked about several videos ago. We talked about a South African woman who was track running.
Yeah.
She ran track and field. So she ran
800 meters.
800 meters. And she was so fast. She just had high testosterone levels, and no woman could keep up with her. And she had to defend her right to be there in the Olympics. So, so there's other issues where this has come up, and it's not really necessarily a trans issue, but people are trying to make this one about that. But I think this one's a little different.
Yeah, it's not. It's different. So
Yeah.
I feel she has got unnecessary ridicule.
Unnecessary
The criticism is unnecessary for her, really, because what she should do? Should we just, she should just die and move out of, we have to find a way to make these people belong somewhere, Yeah, but about trans people just having a choice. Okay, now I feel I'm weak among males, and let me be a female. I'm against that. But then if someone is naturally in between there, then we need to improvise for such people.
There's physical characteristics that make this issue more complicated.
Yeah.
But I think what happens is the people in the trans community or the trans activists will use examples like this to create this wider concept that there's multiple genders or that gender exists on a spectrum. And it doesn't logically follow from that, because we acknowledge that there is something called intersex, that there are, with a small number of people, these things that make things a little bit more complicated. But we don't believe that you can go from that and suddenly change the whole dynamic of what it means to be male or female, or make it all subjective and say, however I identify, that's what I am. And so then you have actual real cases where we talked about in the past, where biological males go in and compete as women, and that's actually cheating.
Yeah, it's unfair.
Yeah. But this example, I think we both agree, is a little bit different. There's something, this is not quite the same. So
yeah. But like you said, the woke people are going to jump on that ship and try to ride along that to justify their evil tendencies or intentions.
Right, and I think also at the same time, the anti-woke people are jumping on this as well. And I don't think that this is the hill that they want to, that either side should die on. This isn't the hill you want to die on this battle. But, and so, and we did finally get our 50th subscriber. So in our last videos we were talking about how we were at 49 and we were wanting to get to 50, and we had somebody comment, I'm your 50th, yay.
I got you covered.
Yeah, we got you covered, that's what it was. So we thank that person, and I think we're now up to 52. So we're growing slowly. We're not really growing all that quickly. But,
organically.
Yeah. And we did have one video, I thought it was odd. I did a short that got 0 views, and so sometimes I still wonder if YouTube's kind of playing games with us and not necessarily showing all of our videos, but because of the controversial nature of it. But there's no way to know. So, but I did find it odd that I had a video we had a video that got 0 views. So it wouldn't even show my view.
Yeah, of course, that something is wrong, because even I viewed it on my channel and I didn't see that.
And it's showing 0 views. So, but anyways, that being said, I wanted to comment about something, Paul. So we get a lot of comments across multiple social media platforms. We make these primarily for YouTube, but we're also on Odyssey. We post these on Facebook. We post these on TikTok. We're on multiple platforms. So I like to read comments that we receive across these various platforms. So this is a comment that was received on Facebook. It's a great time, he writes, to escape the insanity here, meaning in the U.S., because of course it's election time. And he says that he's looking to do the same. So this is somebody that kind of implies that he wants to, at least temporarily get out of the United States while things are a little bit crazy. Although things in the U.S. are always kind of crazy. And I responded by saying, it's pretty crazy over there in the U.S. And then I said, though Uganda has its share of problems, the overall cultural environment here is incredibly positive in comparison. Now, of course, I know that I come with a different perspective. So I come with an American perspective. I come here and I see, this very refreshing environment of hospitality where people seem to have more of a unified Ugandan spirit. It's not that everything is perfect here. There's hardship here. There's poverty here. But I don't really see the hostility and the political divisiveness here in Uganda that I see in the U.S. There seems to be a much more positive spirit or a much more positive environment. And maybe I want to get your perspectives on that. It's just that I don't see it because I'm an American, and maybe there's more of it than I realize, or what do you think?
Yeah, I would like to jump on the keyword in comparison, or the perspective. your perspective would definitely be different, given that you're from a different culture, totally different culture, and ours is not per se totally different because we you know, for lack of a better word, we're trying so hard to copy your culture. But then, from a Ugandan perspective, we are rotting as well. You know, we are moving away from a more socially friendly environment to a less socially friendly environment. But yeah, if America is, let's say, 80 out of 100, 80 miles of a 100 miles journey of, you know, we are at 60.
So you're be further back, but you're still kind of moving.
Yeah, we're moving towards that side. So maybe it's worse there and it's better here in comparison. But we don't feel that as well. Right. We feel it's not good here.
The biggest thing that I see in the U.S. is just this this very toxic environment of people not listening to each other and just only subscribing to the talking points that promote whatever their political camp wants them to promote. And it's not really about truth. It's not really about listening to each other. The lies become more significant than the truth if it serves the agenda of your political camp or your political party. And I saw an example of this in an interview recently. It was Don Lemon, Candace Owens. So in this interview, Don Lemon made a claim that on the January protest at the Capitol building, 5 people were killed on January 6th. But in reality, if you look at what happened, there was only one person that was actually killed that day, and that was Ashley Babbitt, and she was a Trump supporter, and she was shot by the police officer. But when Candace Owens called him on that and pointed out that one of those was a police officer who died later, I don't remember if it was a heart attack or it was a stroke or whatever it was, that they count him in that death toll of 5. And then when Candace Owens pointed that out to him, Don Lemon responded by saying, oh, but the stress that was produced from that day likely led to him having those kind of health problems that led to his death. So what Don Lemon does is he promotes this lie that this person was killed in the protests because it fits their narrative, and as long as you don't call him out on it, he gets away with it. But then if you call him out on him and say that's not true, then he's got something else planned to respond to that by saying, oh, but the events of that day likely led to him being killed. So you have this rationalization of how you can justify this lie. And people, this is the way the political environment is in the U.S. And I'm not just trying to say that the anti-Trump people do this, because I think that everybody kind of does this. That's the whole political environment.
It's quite toxic.
It's quite toxic. And one of the things I've been here in the U.S., I mean, I've been here in Uganda now for a year, and it kind of feels good to be out of that environment and to just kind of watch it from a distance, because in the U.S. I'm always walking on eggshells with people and being afraid to tell people what I really think, because it's going to create this toxic conversation. Like, you know, for example, there was I had a friend that wrote to me and was kind of surprised at some of the things that I was saying, because he didn't know that I believe this way, you know, on some of these things. But the reason was because I didn't necessarily feel comfortable telling him, because in America everything is so toxic. You have to walk on eggshells with people, and you have to be very careful about what you say. And here in Uganda, I don't really feel like I have to do that, but that could also be because I'm an American.
No, even here, we yes, we have a political issue, you know, divide, but per se, it's very low key, because I can be I can support the opposition, and my wife is NRM or pro-government, and we can still live in peace. We meet, we go for parties, we have fun, we play games together. You know, politics is more of a part-time issue. It happens, and you know, and we have this animosity, but then even if people are you know, it's more of a facade. People are not so divided in political lines.
They're not so divided along.
So in the moment of the topic or the discussion, the division comes out, you know, more blatantly. But then it doesn't carry on beyond that.
Right.
You know, you could find an opposition leader's, you know, daughter getting married to someone in the government, you know, and it's okay, and they're having fun at the party or the wedding, whichever, and life goes on. I don't think it's the same out there.
Right. No, in the U.S. it's definitely not that way, because you oftentimes lose friends. There'll be divisions within families.
Isn't it just being used to intimidate people out of politics?
Yes.
Per se, to intimidate the so-called free speech.
And to not have a voice, to not express your views.
They're
Yes,
intimidating people out of free speech.
and it works. It's effective, and that's why they do it.
That's why you took long. That's
Right.
why your friend got surprised, because you were intimidated out of free speech.